Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. This is bullshit.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
I'm Samantha.
Welcome to X-UMED. Now, we can't do a Bloody Mary episode without talking about the drink first. So I'm going to tell you the origins of the Bloody Mary drink. Sam's drinking one. I just realized that I threw out all my Bloody Mary mix, so I can't drink.
It's so good.
So according to liquor.com, the Bloody Mary was created in the 1920s by a Frenchman named Fernand Petou. Now, I wanted to say Patois, but it's not spelled like that. I cannot say it with the French accent. I skipped every single day of French class.
Let's not even try.
I'm not going to try. So the first recipe was just vodka and tomato juice. And what Petou did was spiced it up and named it. What he added to it was horseradish, Tabasco sauce, lemon juice, celery, salt, a Worcestershire sauce. So after the Prohibition, he took this drink, and it was very popular over in France. So when he came over to America and opened a bar in New York for a short time, he renamed it the Red Snapper because of the delicate American sensibilities. Like the Red Snapper sounded better.
It sounds like Shark Week, and forever now, I'm going to say Red Snapper instead of Shark Week.
Yeah.
Shark Week. Equally as bad, but there's something about Red Snapper that it makes more sense.
So anyways, the Bloody Mary became very popular. And it is actually said to be named after Queen Mary I of England from the 1550s.
Queen Mary I was the daughter of King Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. She was born in 1516 and died in 1558. She finally got to rule England in her own right in 1553. But she was trying to turn the country back from Protestant to Catholic. And anyone who wouldn't follow her on that, she decided she is going to burn or behead for treason. She killed between 280 and 320 Protestants, which is far less than what her dad and her younger sister, Elizabeth I, did. But that's where she got her nickname, Bloody Mary.
Now, the tomato juice is supposed to symbolize the blood spilled. The vodka, or firewater, was supposed to symbolize her brutal executions. Now, the cocktail is kind of meant to be played with. He added enough to it to make it his own, but he left it kind of like a blank canvas for everyone else to just kind of tailor it to their own taste. Everyone makes a Bloody Mary differently. There are the staple ingredients you have to put in it. Just all depending on what kind of Bloody Mary mix you use. A lot of those things are already in the Bloody Mary mix. I prefer to use V8, and I'll either use the spicy V8 or the regular. So you don't really need the celery salt because it's already in the V8. I'll put pepper in it, pickle or green olive juice. You always have to have a dill pickle floating in it.
Always.
That's like the prize at the end of the drink is you get to eat the pickle. And if it's left in there long enough, you can taste the vodka in the pickle. And the spicier, the better. If it makes your lips burn and your nose run while you're drinking it, that's a good Bloody Mary. Also in Canada, they make their Bloody Marys with Clamato, and I guess that's got like sardines in it or something. Or no, not sardines, anchovies. They call that a Bloody Caesar.
And then I think there's one with tequila. I don't remember what the name of that one's called.
I don't think that would taste good because
No.
If you think about it, you have to put a lot of vodka in something to even taste the vodka. And tequila's got its own taste. So according to liquor.com, though, the Bloody Mary is not an evening drink, Sam, at 8:35 p.m. And I'll tell you why. According to liquor.com, it says those who consume it after the sun sets possess personality defects and are to be avoided.
Well,
I feel a little attacked, but fair enough.
Are they wrong, though?
I mean,
We'll
No.
We'll just skip past that.
It is, however, a known antidote to the common hangover, which, by the way, does work. And those who drink it in the morning are to be regarded as people of great knowledge.
We're smart.
I usually don't do hair of the dog because the last thing I want to think about is alcohol if I wake up hungover. But I was forced a couple of times to drink a Bloody Mary while I had a hangover, and it does work. The alcohol does help a little bit because it kind of helps to bring you back up a little bit, but you eventually have to come back down. It does help, though. Gives your body back what it's missing.
Well, I'll continue to eat the olives out of the bottom of my glass. My stuffed feta cheese olives with my pickle. That's all I do if I'm hungover in the morning, that I'll just drink pickle juice or olive juice.
In the pickle juice, it's the sodium and the vinegar, I guess. That
pickle juice is very good for cramps, like muscle cramps or the red snapper cramps.
Yeah. So now a question for the guys. Growing up, what did you do at sleepovers? I'm sure you didn't have sleepovers as much as girls did, but you know what kind of stuff did you do? I'm thinking you sat around and played video games, maybe watched some scary movies, maybe went outside and played basketball or something in the dark.
TP'd someone's house.
Yeah, it's cute. You know what we were doing?
Summoning demons.
We were summoning goddamn demons.
We were trying to make new friends.
It was crazy, the kind of stuff. We didn't know where it came from. We didn't know the origins of the games that we were playing. If we did, maybe it would have scared us a little bit, and we wouldn't have done it. The game is where you're supposed to go into the bathroom, turn the lights off, shut the door, and just light a candle. And in some versions, you're supposed to turn around 3 times in the mirror, and every time you face the mirror, you say Bloody Mary. Other times, you just look right into the mirror and just say it 3 times. And then she's supposed to show up in the mirror and supposedly scratch your eyeballs out. That's what I was taught. Were you taught differently?
I was taught that you go into the mirror and say, Bloody Mary, I killed your baby 3 times. And then she comes out of the mirror and scratches your eyes out. I don't remember what it was. I know that the lights had to be off.
To this day, I won't shut the door unless I turn the light on first. I'm not going to be in the bathroom next to a mirror by myself in the dark.
Neither will I.
That's weird.
There's some things with your childhood that just lives on.
Yeah. So nobody knows how far back the game dates. Historians tried tracing it a while ago, like in the 70s, and they couldn't really find anything. The folklore behind this game, experts assume that it is an initiation ritual among girls on the verge of puberty, blood suddenly appearing, the red snapper, which is kind of boring, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Who knows? Now, this game could be named after a few different people. Nobody really knows where it came from, how it came about, but it could have been named after Queen Mary I, who we just talked about. Could have been named after Elizabeth Bathory, aka Queen of Blood. She was a Hungarian countess back in the 1500s who used to murder her handmaids and bathe in their blood because she thought that young blood would keep her young. And she killed hundreds of them before they caught her. And then there is Mary Worth, who was a witch executed in Salem. Not actual Salem, though. It was a town that they call New Salem, and that was actually in Whitewater, Wisconsin. Or not New Salem, Second Salem.
Whitewater, because they screwed up the first one enough.
Yeah, like there had to have been a second Salem. Mary Worth was said to be an axe murdering witch, and there's basically really no information on her besides that. So then there's one more story of where Bloody Mary could have come from, and it's a pretty sad story. Back in the 1800s, who knows if this story is even true? A lot of these stories are just, there's a lot of information lost to time. But there was a little girl named Mary, I'm thinking like in her preteens. She got sick and went into a coma. Her family thought that she was dead. They put like a mirror up to her nose, and there was just a very, very faint breath on the mirror, and they believed that that was her last breath. So they buried her. Now, since they weren't sure if she was actually dead, they took precautions. There's a thing that they did with a lot of graves back then, because medical knowledge was not what it is today. And a lot of people were being buried alive. So what they would do is they would hang a bell next to the headstone, and then from the bell going down into the casket would be like this long rope, so that if you woke up buried alive, you could pull that rope and ring the bell above you. And the gravekeepers that they would usually hire for about 30 days or so, they would hear the bell being rung and they would know to dig you up. So they put that precaution in place for Mary. But then the family had some business out of town. So they asked the neighbor, because they obviously didn't hire a gravekeeper to watch over the grave, but they asked a nearby neighbor to keep an eye on the grave and listen for the bell. It's unspecified how long they were gone, but when they came back, they checked on the grave and they saw that the bell had broken off and rolled away from the grave. They were like, oh shit. And nobody heard the bell ringing. So they dug her up, and what they found was awful. She was wearing a white dress when they buried her, and it was covered in blood. Her fingertips were all like scratched off. And on the inside of the lid of her coffin were scratch marks. She had rung that bell so hard and yanked on that rope so hard that it actually broke off from the bell. And nobody heard it, and no one rescued her. And she was trying her hardest to get out.
Oh, that's so horrible. And it wasn't uncommon for that to happen. I remember reading an article about somewhere around Cleveland, they were moving a cemetery from one yard to another, and they came across different things like that. Like, there's no reason why there should be scratch marks inside of a grave. But why they're opening up the casket, I don't understand. Not a part of the story, but...
Oh, so there are different ways that you can play Bloody Mary. There are all kinds of different versions. Like, what I was taught was that you stand in the mirror, you say Bloody Mary 3 times, and that was as far as it went. But in other places, I guess you say Mary Worth, you say Bloody Bones, Mary Wales, Hell Mary, and some places you say it 3 times or 13 times or more times. I think I read that it was like 20 something times that you had to say it in one of the versions. Like,
I think one of them is you
stand there,
go in a circle.
Yeah, I have heard about this, and I think one time that I played it, I was told to turn 3 times, but just like every time you go, you face the mirror, you say it, and then you turn, and then you say it again, and then you turn. So Bloody Mary is actually a form of mirror divination, or something called scrying, where you chant something in the mirror and you can conjure something in it. Way back when people would die at home, right before their death, they would cover up the mirrors, all the mirrors in the house, because they believed that when the spirit left the body, it could be trapped in a mirror.
Okay.
And I have heard that you're not supposed to put 2 mirrors facing each other, like on opposite sides of the room, like on the opposite walls, because it can create like a portal. You know how if you look in a mirror, let's say you want to see the back of your head in a mirror, so you hold up a hand mirror and you have your back to another mirror, and you know how it looks like it just goes on forever? It's believed that that can create a portal for things to just come in and out.
Maybe there's mirrors in the ocean and in the sky. Maybe that's the Bermuda Triangle. Go
Who
listen
knows?
to our Bermuda Triangle episode.
Yeah, I don't know if we've published the Bermuda Triangle by now. I don't know what order we're going to be putting these out. So the original game is actually nothing like the Bloody Mary we know now. The original game is that a girl will hold a hand mirror in front of her, and it's not specified whether she even says Bloody Mary or not, but she's walking backwards up the stairs, looking into the mirror, and she will either see her future husband in the mirror or she will see a skull. And if she sees a skull, that means that she will die before finding her husband. And there are different ways, like I said, that you can play Bloody Mary. One version is that like you touch the mirror for some reason, and then you have like a little bit of water dripping out of the fountain, or the faucet, and you see different things too. You can either see a ghost or a corpse or a witch or Satan himself, a woman covered in blood holding a blue dead baby in her arms. And I think that's the one you see if you say, Mary Worth, I stole your baby. And when you see her, she might scream, cuss you out, or just, she'll appear and freak you out and then just disappear. She could reach through the mirror and strangle you, drink your blood, scratch your eyes out, or steal your soul.
I'm going to opt for just scaring the hell out of me because I do want my soul after I've thought about it. I need my cats.
Yeah. If you don't have a soul, you can't even like animals. Now, the interesting thing about Mary Worth is that there's another story about her that makes absolutely no sense. She wasn't even a witch. She was just a woman who died in a car accident. And in the accident, her face got really messed up and she's mad about it. So now she comes back and tries to scratch your eyes out and, scratch you up because she wants you to look like she does.
Okay. I found another one where she was part of the Reverse Underground Railroad.
Reverse Underground Railroad?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
It is essentially the slaves would think that they've reached a safe place and she sold them back or she tortured them. She was eventually hung.
That's dirty. And her name was Mary Worth? Or it's like believed that was her name?
Yeah. Mary Wadsworth, actually. But they called her Mary Worth.
So there's also a Japanese version of Bloody Mary called Hako-san.
I like that word.
Hako-san?
Yeah.
She was supposed to have been a little girl who died in a school bathroom on the 3rd floor. It's not specified whether it was suicide, murder, or an air raid. What you're supposed to do, though, is you're supposed to go to the 3rd floor bathroom in any school, knock on the wall 3 times, and say, Hako-san, are you here? And then you're supposed to see her show up, and she's got long black hair covering most of her face, and she's wearing a red school uniform. And then she answers you and says yes, and pulls you into the toilet because the toilet is a gateway to hell.
I'm going to look at the toilet very differently tonight.
It's kind of ridiculous, but I mean, all of these urban legends are pretty ridiculous. But it's just enough to make you kind of think, like, what if? Didn't it freak you out playing Bloody Mary when you were little? Like, what if? I know nothing's going to happen, but what if it does?
I don't remember when I was a kid playing it. I do remember playing it once at a sleepover. I think I was 9 or 10 years old. We did all the things at that sleepover. I remember we even tried to make new friends with the Ouija board. No, but still, looking at a mirror in the dark spooks me a little bit. Because what if?
Yeah.
What if I played that, 25 years ago, and now she wants to show up?
Maybe. There is a version also where you only see yourself, but your facial expression is different. Or like you'll turn your head, but your reflection won't turn its head.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah. Or your reflection will like smile at you, even though you're not smiling.
I think that I would rather have my soul taken than that. That would scare the hell out of me more.
That would just scare the soul right out of you. Do you remember that shower door Mom had in her old house?
Yeah, it was
It had like a full-length mirror in the middle, so if it was shut all the way and you walked in the middle of the night, you would see your own reflection standing there, and oh my God, I freaked myself out. I thought somebody was standing there, but it was my own reflection.
Yeah, I remember going to the bathroom. I used to it was that 3-pane glass in the shower, but in the center pane was the mirror.
Yeah.
And I used to have to always shut one side to cover up the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Just in case.
It's just,
I don't believe in it, but just in case.
There was something about it that was still uncomfortable.
So another game that we played doesn't have anything to do with Bloody Mary, but it is another slumber party game called Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. Now, we heard about this and we were playing this long before the craft, but I guess when the craft came out, that's when that game got really popular. But that was like a staple. You weren't going to go to a slumber party and not play light as a feather, stiff as a board. It's just something that we did.
Because we were trying to make new friends with demons.
This isn't even really like, I don't think it's even really summoning a demon. It's just magic, witchcraft, I guess. Now, everybody probably knows what light as a feather, stiff as a board is, but I'm going to explain it anyway. It's when somebody lays on the floor and you have all the lights turned off and you have candles lit and everyone else is sitting around the person laying on the floor. Now, the leader of the group is at this person's head, rubbing their temples to try to relax them. And everyone else has 2 fingers from each hand underneath the body. And then they say, light as a feather, stiff as a board, over and over and over again while they're trying to lift this body up off the floor. And if they get it up off the floor high enough, they're supposed to slowly pull their fingers away, and the person is supposed to stay in the air and levitate. Now, the levitation part, that's a little far-fetched for me. But physics say that if there are enough people around you with their 2 fingers underneath you, and if they all use the same pressure at the same time, they can lift you up. There's got to be a hell of a lot of people around you to do that, though.
Strong fingers and forearms.
Yeah.
Science.
So the object of the game is levitation and also resurrection. And I guess this came on around the time that the plague was really big. It was just kind of a game that kids made up to cope with all the death that they saw all around them day in and day out.
Makes sense.
And they didn't think that they were actually going to resurrect anybody. It was just kind of a make-believe thing. I don't know if it made the kids feel better or what. Like, I don't know.
If that's what they needed to do.
And they didn't think anything of it. Like, it wasn't a weird thing for them to do.
But they did that with their friends, not the actual bodies, right?
Yeah. It was just a game. It's not like they were around a dead body trying to resurrect it. It was just a game.
Yeah, it's got to be a coping mechanism.
I would think so.
Things you can't understand, you're trying to find a way to make it make sense.
And I mean, if you're growing up around death every day like that, all of your games are going to have some kind of morbidity to it.
Absolutely.
And it's just going to be like second nature because it's kind of all you know. So what the game actually is supposed to be, though, which I never heard of, is you're supposed to say like an incantation kind of before you do it. And the person at the head, the leader, is supposed to say something and then everyone else chants it after you. And what they're supposed to say is, she's looking pale. And then everyone,
she's looking pale.
She's looking pale. She's looking worse.
She's looking worse.
She's dying.
She's dying.
She's dead.
She's dead.
And then after that, just say, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board, over and over and over again as fast as you can while you're trying to lift them up with your 2 fingers. And they're supposed to be able to do it. So there was a guy who had a diary. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know who this guy even is. His name is Samuel Pepys, spelled P-E-P-Y-S, but it's pronounced Pepys. There was a story told to him by a Mr. Brisband, someone that he described as a good scholar and a sober man. And he was speaking of enchantments and spells. Brisband learned incantation in Bordeaux. Where's Bordeaux? I didn't look that up. Where is Bordeaux? Is it like England?
Bordeaux, it sounds... I'll look it up. How is it spelled?
Bourdeaux. Yeah,
France.
Okay. What he described seeing was 4 little girls, very young ones, all kneeling, each of them upon one knee, and one began the first line, whispering it in the ear of the next, and it would go on like that, like the telephone game. And they would do this during each line of their incantation. Their incantation was a little bit different. Here lies a dead body, stiff as a stick, cold as marble, light as a spirit. Rise in the name of Jesus Christ. They each had 1 finger from each hand underneath a boy who was laying on the ground. He lay flat on his back as if he were dead. And at the end of the words they said, they lifted him up with only 1 finger on each hand, and they raised him up as high as they could reach. So 1 finger on each hand, only 4 girls. And they were able to lift him above their heads as far as they could reach.
That sounds witchery.
So Brisbane thought that it was some kind of trick. So he challenged the girls to do the same to the cook of the house that he had with him, another boy. The girls did the same with this boy and again succeeded. Pepys says, as strange as it is, he believes his friend wholeheartedly and asked if the girls were Catholic or Protestant. Brisbane said Protestant, which surprised him because I guess one of the most famous levitators was a Catholic saint named Joseph of Cupertino, Cupertino.
Sounds right. Never heard of him.
Yeah, I've never heard of him either.
Why does it never work for us when we were kids? That's bullshit.
Because it doesn't work. I don't believe I don't
No,
believe
I
it
don't
works.
either.
I don't know, but this story was supposed to have taken place between 1628 and 1631, back in the witch trial days.
Well, I mean, they didn't have Twitter, they didn't have YouTube and video games and TV. Maybe they could actually tap into something in their minds out of boredom, they had a lot of extra time on their hands outside of trying to avoid death and going to church and just trying to live.
So they tapped into the universe and figured out how to do real magic?
Maybe.
Okay.
These stories have to come from somewhere.
I know.
Anything is possible.
And it's just crazy that those 2 games have been around for as long as they have, and we still play them now. But if I really knew exactly what I was doing, I probably wouldn't have done it.
I probably still would have.
Maybe we would have wanted to do it more.
Probably.
You're stupid when you're young. now
I'm
being
still
an
stupid.
adult, I would think a little bit more. Isn't there one other Bloody Mary story, though, that you knew about?
Yeah, I have 2, kind of.
Okay.
This wasn't the original story that I thought I was looking up, but it's a little interesting. It is outside of Mansfield, Ohio. There's a cemetery that is nearly hidden on the grounds of an old campsite outside of Mansfield. In the graveyard, there laid a lonely stone with the name Mary Jane engraved upon it. Above the grave, a massive tree once stood tall and mighty before vandals snatched up a chainsaw and placed blade against the trunk and cut it down to the ground. But in the 1960s, and before it was toppled, teens from the surrounding communities would come to the grave and stand above it. They would stare at the aged tree and the lone grave beneath because legends had been passed on to them that the woman buried beneath it was a witch. After family lay to rest, a cross appeared on the tree's bark, and sap flowed blood red down its trunk. Those who visit the grave would softly chant, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, and wait for her to arise. Those who jumped over the grave and spit on it would come to a very horrible death.
Wow.
So it gives us more reason to go to Mansfield.
I'm not spitting on a grave.
No, never spit on a grave. But I just want to see it.
What's the other story?
Well, it goes back to... Okay, remember Supernatural? Our show?
Our show, yes.
Season 1, Episode 5, Bloody Mary, takes place in Toledo, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Our hometown. Well, hometown of Sylvania. And it holds a special place in our heart because the writer, Eric Kripke, is from Sylvania, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
He graduated from Sylvania Southview High School. We graduated a couple of miles away, Sylvania Northview High School.
He actually graduated the year I started my freshman year. It's cool to know he went to school in Sylvania around the same time we were going to school in Sylvania, and now he's got this epic
Cult.
TV show that, yeah.
And we didn't know that until we started watching it. When I started watching it, I was on bed rest from pulling muscles and ligaments from my rib cage. So I was on bed rest for like 3 weeks, started watching it. And the entire first season is nothing about, well, episode 5, I think 5, Bloody Mary is Toledo. But you go through the entire first season and all they're talking about is different things that, like Talmadge, Ohio. Well, there's Talmadge Road. Secor, Ohio. There is Secor Road. It's all these different links that if you were born around Northwest Ohio, you would make that connection after hearing it quite a bit. And then we have to look it up. And of course, Sylvania, Ohio. Oh, shit, this is so cool. I'm sold.
But the Bloody Mary episode is based off kind of, maybe not a true story, but like a real legend.
Folklore, yeah.
Folklore around us, yeah.
I think in the show they use Mary Worthington of Indiana And I looked that up. There is a Mary Worthington type tale, but not quite this one. That tale links to this one, but there's really no information, so it wasn't really worth telling. So sometime during the 19th century, there lived a belligerent farmer named Old Man Wales.
Mary Wales. That's one of the names that you say in the mirror, remember?
Yep.
Okay.
Old Man Wills supplemented his farm income by catching and selling runaway slaves. He was an evil man. He only loved his wife, Virginia. After the Civil War, Old Man Will's life crumbled around him. He lost his income from his business in selling slaves, runaway slaves. And then his wife died during childbirth. But Virginia left behind a beautiful daughter named Mary. Old Man Wills hated Mary. She represented the cause of Virginia's death. Mary, in blonde curls and dressed in dirty rags, was kind and hardworking. While her dad drank himself to sleep, she did most of the housekeeping and chores. The only thing that brought her happiness were books. Books allowed her to escape the small farm in Lake County, Indiana. One night, Old Man Wills came home especially drunk and angry. He marched into Mary's room while she slept and stabbed her to death with the same knife that he used to slaughter pigs. Her screams could not save her. He left her bloody body in the bed with nearly a severed head.
Oh,
He went to bed proud of his work.
nice.
The next morning, Old Man Wills took her body and buried her in the basement. He thought it was the last he was going to see of his daughter. 2 nights later, Wills entered the house after doing his evening chores. Standing in the kitchen was Mary, smiling through a knife-split mouth.
Ugh.
Her head halfway dangling off her neck, and a pool of blood surrounded her feet. She made a gargling sound. She hissed, running towards him. He ran out of the house and spent the night in the barn. The next day, Old Man Wills returned to the house and saw no signs of last night's bloody incident. He blamed the alcohol and went about his life. A week later, as he read the newspaper next to the fire, Mary appeared once again. She sat across the room from him, with her dress covered in blood and head moving about. She flew towards him, clutching knitting needles like knives. Wills ran out of the house and into the barn. He looked at his back of the shirt and was bloody with knife-like gashes. For days, Wills slept in the barn, but finally convinced himself that the image of his murdered daughter was just the whiskey. He decided to go back into the house one morning, clean it up, and then head into town. When he looked into the mirror to start shaving, a face was appearing back at him. Flesh fell from his pale face, and through her sharp teeth, Mary made that gurgling sound again.
Ugh.
Using her long nails, she reached through the mirror and slapped Wales twice across the face. Again, he fled to the barn. Wales thought he was safe in the barn, but heard the gargling sound behind him. After he turned, she pointed to a noose hanging in the rafters. He began to climb the ladder. The noose looked so welcoming.
She got him to hang himself.
This is probably just a folklore. It comes from the book Spooky Indiana. The story is adapted from S.E. Schlosser, Spooky Indiana.
So it was a fictional story, or was it like something that he wrote down as like an urban legend that he had heard? Because I feel like every urban legend comes from some kind of truth, you know? It's interesting.
Yes to all. I have no idea if this is a true story. It is a true story in the idea of folklore.
Mm-hmm.
If it actually happened, who knows?
So was it the same mirror that he was seeing Mary in? Or were...
He only saw her once in a mirror.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure that the Supernatural episode was based off that story.
But they adapted it.
Yeah, oh, well, of course, yeah, they adapted it. In the episode, she showed up in whatever mirror you conjured her in, but if you smashed that mirror, she would just like go to a different mirror.
And then you had to break every mirror. What didn't they end the episode with them being like an antique store or a mirror store or something?
Yeah, and they had to smash every single mirror in the store.
Until she came out, and then they did what they had to do with her.
Yeah, so there you go, Bloody Mary. Nobody really knows where it actually originated from. There are multiple people that it could be, based from. Nobody really knows. It's just a slumber party game that we played when we were little, and it's been going on for decades.
If I had kids, I would teach my kids that. It's just get passed along.
I never played that game with my kids. I never taught them I think they just learned it on their own, but I don't think they ever played it. But if I were to have walked past their room and heard them chanting that shit, that would have freaked me out. I have never heard that incantation before.
And if you bring Bloody Mary into this house, I'm going to whip your ass.
Yeah.
Take care of it. I don't know. It's fun to freak yourself out from time to time, though.
Yeah, I guess so, until you think about it later. You know, there was a lot of stuff that we did when we were younger that we shouldn't have done.
Brooke won't let me buy a Ouija board.
I have Ouija boards as decoration.
Every time we go to any store that has board games, I always pick up the Ouija board, and she just shakes her head and walks away from me.
How about no? Just,
we don't
know.
It could be a gateway. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, we're going to do
with things that we don't know about.
We're going to do an episode on the Ouija board, so we'll talk more about that during that episode.
But for tonight, I hope that everyone gets a little bit spooked when they look in the mirror, and do not turn off the light before you open the bathroom door.
Yeah. I mean, just in case there's a chance that something might happen, how about not do that? And with that, that's all we know for now.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bloody Mary.